it looks like just when you think comedian beef is going away, it comes back. And now it's Corey Holcomb and Donnell Rawlings. So Corey Holcomb went up at the Laugh Factory. I'm sure it was I don't know if it was Sunday or Monday. Sure it was Sunday. And Donnell Rawlings, I got a video, and we'll post it on here real quick, a real snippet of it. Him and Corey just snapping. Like, I heard Corey was talking about Dave Chappelle, and then Donnell stood up for Dave, and then things like that. And like I said, when there's no truth or validity to things, it doesn't hurt at all when people are just saying crazy shit about you. But when there's a little bit of truth to it, no matter what, then it hurts a little bit. So I think, here's the thing. I like Corey. Corey trolls everybody. I think when people go on stage and talk about you, like I said, it's always a good thing. Good or bad, your name's up, and people are going to look you up. And then they can make their own opinions about you. So if a comedian brings my name up on stage or in a podcast, it's fair game to go search me out, and then you can decide for yourself if you like me or not. So Donnell and Corey, all we got, and that's the thing, when people post stuff, we're not getting the full story yet. And I'm sure when Corey tells his version, Donnell tells his version, it'll be a little different. But from what I gather, being an outsider looking in, this is what I think happened from my common sense radar. Corey went up, and he was talking about Dave. And he was talking about when Dave goes on stage, he goes long. And Corey said on his podcast that Dave Chappelle bombs a lot. And I don't think he bombs. I think when Dave goes up there and does he used to do these 3-hour shows, he just be talking and working his sets out. And people are like I said, he's Bigfoot. They're so intrigued with it. They're doing, but here's the thing. When Corey said Dave's bombing, man, Dave is like one of them comics. He's really working stuff out on stage. Nobody is just 100 for 100 in the jokes. And Dave, so just once he lights those cigarettes and he just up there, he's only just like vibing. It's almost like you in a studio and he's just like figuring out what kind of rap goes with Dave. You ever see the people making record albums and stuff like that? And they'll be in the studio and they'll have the headphone. They'll be like, watch like a Bohemian Rhapsody. And they'll be like, hold that note a little more. Do this, all right. Raise your octave a little bit, or say this instead of this. Watch NWA. Watch that movie. Watch Bohemian Rhapsody. Any of these music movies where they're trying to get the right note or the right lyric out. That's really what Dave's doing when Corey's talking about Dave's bombing. He's not bombing. He's just working stuff out on stage, and he's taking his sweet time. And I always say, like, there used to be a time when Dave was doing these 3-hour sets, then Dane Cook, who was killing it about 10, 15 years ago, and Dane Cook's still killing it. Don't misread that. But those guys were having like a competition who would do the longer sets. And I said, most comics can't do that. We would get banned. Like if we went up there and did 3 hours, they might never come back, Gary. How dare you disrespect the room? And then, but if Dane did it back in the day, they were considered comedic geniuses because they were on stage for 3 hours. And I would always say, like, yeah, I think they're both comedic geniuses, but that's not what makes them a comedic genius, because any seasoned headliner can go up and do 3.5 hours. They can do what Dave and Dane were doing back then, but we would get banned. We can go up there and just sit and talk to the audience, but listen, if you're not getting booed and the audience is staying engaged, I go, everybody left happy as far as I knew. But yeah, I think Corey was, from what I gathered, from what I heard, Corey said, man, if Dave went up at the Savoy or any of these hood rooms, they would have booed his ass off. And I don't think that's true, but that's just Corey being Corey. I think Corey just, he trolls people, man, and he talks about people. And Donnell, who owes a big chunk of his career to Dave, and Dave has really taken him under his wing, produced his next Netflix special, has been on the road with Dave forever. Donnell was like kind of standing up for Dave and start getting a back and forth with Corey. That's what I gather. Now, here's the thing. I think Donnell's wrong, and whether Corey was talking about Donnell or Dave, that's Corey's time on stage. So that he can say whatever he wants. That's his time. Now, you are more than welcome to go up when it's your time to go on stage and refute anything Corey's saying or go at Corey. But it's not cool for a comic to yell out during another comic set, regardless of what they're talking about. That's just not cool. So I would definitely side with Corey in this instance. I don't have to agree with what Corey's talking about on stage. I'm just saying I don't want this to become the new thing. I don't want it to be, I don't like what you're saying, so I'm going to confront you on stage like that. Because that wasn't fun. That wasn't no winner. You got to respect the stage, man. That's all, Donnell. That wasn't cool, regardless of what he was saying. And it was such a – listen, Laugh Factory was so small, it wasn't going to get out anyways. This has only got traction because you yelled out. And it wouldn't have changed the way people feel about Dave or you deep down. So I think we just got to take a step back. And I know you're saying you was defending your friend in this and everything. And I just think Donnell was wrong in this instance. And it doesn't even matter what Corey's talking about. Because now it's like, oh, here we go again. With comedians, they got beef. So I hope these guys work it out. Because like Corey a couple years ago, he went in on me and we had a back and forth on social media. But then when I saw him, we and me started laughing about it. And I'll listen, I'm going to make it a point to go on 5150. Corey's invited me. I told him, he invited me in the middle of my divorce. I said, I got to wait till the divorce is over. Because I know Corey, I know he's going to ask all these crazy questions about my divorce. I said, I got to wait till it's final so nothing can come back and bite me. And I'm sure me and Corey got a lot to talk about. He snapped on his daughter for calling her basically ungrateful and don't appreciate everything he did. And I'm not going that route with my kids. But, I want to go on 5150. So the 5150 loyal listeners, you know what? I'm going to hit Corey up this week. I'm going to set up. I got to get out to L.A. and do a run anyways of podcasts. When I go out there, I don't want to go out there for one podcast. I want to line it up. I know Andrew Santino wants me on his, Corey. So I got to find some time. I got some free time coming up. So maybe I'll set that up. So you heard it here first. I'm going to go on 5150 within the next couple months. I'm going to hit Corey up because he wanted me on a while ago, and I just said, wait till the divorce is final, bro. He goes, man, people going to trip out. They think we don't like each other. I said, exactly. So, yeah, but I like I said, I don't agree with a lot of stuff Corey says. I think he's just off the wall. But, I just think Donnell was out of line on that one. Regardless if you agreed or disagreed, that's Corey's time on stage. And if it was the other way around and Donnell was on stage and Corey interrupted him, I'd be like, Corey's out of line. So this isn't about what was said on stage. It was about, as a comic, we don't interrupt other comedians while they're on stage. You just don't do that, regardless of what they're talking about. Whether they're talking about your boss, anybody, it's not that deep. It's not that deep, and we know what the comedian etiquette is. You know that. I mean, Donnell knows that. I just don't know why it was so triggering. Regardless, if Corey said Dave would have got booed at the Savoy, it holds no validity if it ain't true. So that's just Corey on stage ranting and talking shit. That's all that is, and that's what Corey does. You know, Corey does that shit. Like, it's not a surprise. Corey does that. He talks about everybody. Hell, he talked about me. He continues to talk about me sometimes. I don't take it personal. That's what Corey does, man.